Welcome. We'll continue our briefings. We're staying in Ukraine Mediacentru, and here is Natalia Starobravo. And we have Volodymyr Trush, head of Ternopil Oblast Military Administration, with us. Welcome. And the first question is about the current situation and about the consequences of missile strikes in Ternopil region, particularly in Kyiv. Good afternoon, studio. Good afternoon, Natalia. The situation, the same as during the missile strikes, is always the same. We have a war in Ukraine and we cannot but treat it seriously. After Saturday's events, when four missiles hit the residential quarter in Kyiv, definitely people have started treating the air alarm sirens more seriously. And this is the grief, the problem that we had uh, can actually affect anybody in Kyiv. 23 people or 21 person affected, and one girl who tried to flee to our region, to Ternopil region, which was considered to be safe, and she was affected by the missile strike in Kyiv. Nobody could even think of that. The girl feels fine. Medical aid has been provided to her with some surgical surgery, but she is now at home. 8 people are still in hospital and they are being provided medical care. Other people are staying in their buildings, in case this can be called their buildings, because normally now a great number of families, which is about 37 out of the overall number of buildings and apartments, are not fit for built for living. So people are staying with their relatives. So we have provided them some places in the dormitories, in the hostels. What is your assessment of the condition of the buildings and the damages caused by the strike, and when are you going to recover the infrastructure? Well, currently we have a commission working. This is the commission created by the local self-government bodies. It includes experts, it includes military administration representatives and the housing service members, and they are assessing the damages. It was not possible to do it overnight because the investigative group had to work at that place. It took some time, about 24 hours. All the facts had to be documented because we considered this to be a crime against humanity and against civilians, um, since civilians were affected. That's why the commission, by the end of the week, will probably give the figure, the amount of damages. But almost 400 families have addressed us for damage reimbursement, and 37 apartments and have already been examined. 11 businesses have been also already examined. Well, the minimum losses are broken windows, broken doors, but that will be restored rather quickly. That will not constitute a major problem. We will do it with the help of the self-government authorities, and also we have the reserve fund, regional reserve fund, which will be provided to Kyiv community, and we will do reconstruction from at the expense of this money. Definitely, as far as the buildings that have almost been fully destroyed cannot be repaired, that will be a long and tedious procedure. But we will start working at this, and the first thing we did was to uh, cover the windows with something, or where it is possible to install window panes as soon as possible. We are doing this, and I think that this week will be spent on documenting and recording, but the next week there will come some steps dedicated to recovery. What about the work of humanitarian headquarters in the region? Do you provide assistance to IDPs, and is the region ready to provide this assistance? You know, since the beginning of the war, we have been positioning ourselves as a safe rear, and that is partially so. That is, well, not a safe, but a reliable rear. And we decided to first of all help residents from Kharkiv region. And starting with the 24th of February, we handed over more than 400,000 food rations to Kharkiv region residents, and this were the rations created at the expense of money of different donations of charitable funds. And this was not only about food, that was also about clothes and other things, other essentials. We also do not forget about IDPs who are staying in our region. Currently, we have about 84,000 IDPs who have lost their chance to live in their regions, in their homes, and they are staying in our region. So definitely we are providing help to them. Mainly, we provide free of charge accommodation. We provide uh, food for IDPs, and we try to find some employment for them. About 200 people have already found their jobs in Ternopil region and keep working. We also help children with kindergartens, because from the 60,000 of children, 40 of those displaced persons who are staying, 84,000 are staying in the region. We have about 40,000 children, and as far as simplified external independent evaluation is concerned, well, they also need help with this. And we have a great increase in the number of people in our region who will be passing this multiple subject test. We are working round the clock, and all the people addressing us, all the IDPs are provided help. And it doesn't mean whether we speak about financial assistance or support or settling of some global issues related to their life and accommodation. We all are working at this. But at the same time, we can see that the region had 106,000 of IDPs. Now we have 84,000 or 86, because there are some variations, which means that 20,000 have already left. This is resulting from the fact that Kharkiv has started hosting its people, and people have started leaving. We have 487 families staying in our region who have no place to go because their houses have been destroyed, fully destroyed, so they will keep staying here. We realize that this is a long procedure for a long time, so we're trying to provide accommodation for them. We arrange rooms for them in the hospitals for them to have a decent living place. Volodymyr, what about the sowing campaign in the region in the conditions of the war, and what are your forecasts concerning the crop yield, and what do farmers tell you? Starting with the first days of the war, it so happened that it was February and March, uh, and these are the months when our agrarians, because we are the agrarian region, so our agrarians, our farmers started working. We needed fuel for the sowing campaign, and we know how difficult it was at the beginning. We have settled this issue, and the region has sown more than 115 percent of what had been planned. So we had even a larger sowing campaign than planned. But the structure of the sowing campaign changed because probably it was majorly sunflower and some other crops. So we realized that currently in the south that will be very difficult to do it, and sometimes even impossible. That's why our farmers reformatted their structure of their crops. They decided to rotate crops. We have fully arranged this sowing campaign. It is already completed, and now we're working at collecting the crop yield. So we are getting ready with fuel, with equipment, with machinery, because one of the concerns for farmers is, of course, machinery. Trucks, lorries that unfortunately sometimes are used for mobilization purposes, for military purposes, but still the farmers are treat this very consciously. They realize why that it is necessary, and they're trying to bring in new machinery to gather their harvest. The concern also is that the farmers have not fully shipped the grain in their warehousing facilities, and that is a major problem, which is now being settled by the government and by the government of Ukraine and by the whole world. I would say we were export oriented in terms of cereals, and about 80% of our cereals were meant for export. Now farmers start working with some processing plants, and we in this way add some value to our budgets. So that is still a concern because, the ports are closed and this is the global problem. Thank you. So this has been Volodymyr Trush, head of Ternopil Regional Military Administration. That's all for today. Follow our announcements on the resources of Ukraine Media Center. Let's stay together because we have come one day closer